Hmm. Well, good evening. This is your Sensei Al Bob. And this is Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. And to start off, this is a YouTube show for entertainment's sake and edification and insightful reflection. So, if you're ready to go, here we go. Find yourself a comfy chair or a repose. Get yourself a libation and shush all of the children out of the room. And tonight's show is Signal to Noise. Oh, I forgot to put in 7 and 9. Because the last 3 days, here it is Sunday, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I went to a thing called Mysticon. And this was my alter ego here. Right? And I wore the hat. Those who wear the hat hold great responsibility. That's what the hat looks like. And those who hold the hat, wear the hat, hold great responsibility. Uh. So, I shot a number of probably at least 10 short little YouTubes, live chats that I sent off into the ethers. Hey there, Dragon. Ride. Of what it was to be at Mysticon, right? Which is it was a very, Mysticon, it's not a comic book convention. It's not a sci-fi convention. It's both of those. People have books and magazines and things that they have published, right? And oh, and but there is also movies and panels and video games and costumes and play acting. And I mean, it's a tremendous amount of diversity of creativity. And what's truly interesting is that the 300 or so people who were there came from this area, came from the Roanoke area, like within a 30-mile area. And I would say at least half the people came from Roanoke City County itself. It showed the amazing diversity of creativity. And the people who made the costumes were amazing. There was a film festival that had 80 films. They just showed film after film after film after film after film. And the creators would come on and give a 5 or so minute thing about what their film was. And then they would go off and, be go on these panels. And they would discuss everything they did, how they did it, why they did it, all the rest. And there was, within the film festival, there were documentaries, and there were also films that were made in less than 45 hours. There were these like categories. And it was just amazing, the level of creativity, and just the 80 films, just nonstop, right? And then the shows were, the panels were amazing. There were tons of people in costume. They had costume, contests, and they had a room where people were playing music. People who did sound scores, but also created their own, music that they, you know, went on tour with, and you know, it was just amazing the level of creativity, and the thing that I love most that I kept talking to. Yeah, come on in, John.
Okay.
So I'm talking. Come on
Oh
in.
yeah.
Come in. Close the door. It's a little cool. So, man, John, that Mr. Con was amazing.
Cool.
Did you see the videos that I kept popping up?
Yeah, I saw a bunch of them.
Right.
Some of them.
Yep, yep. And they were, kind of, I was limited because I was like doing it right there and then. But the thing, John, there were about 300 people there. I would say at least
More.
200 or more.
Yeah, maybe 1,000.
Yes. But what was really amazing was that
Maybe more than that.
at least two or 300 came right from um, Roanoke itself. And they had a film festival with 80 films. 80 films. They just kept showing them one after another, after another, after another. And the people who made them would give a.
Yeah, I could have shown mine, but I didn't get in touch with the people putting the
But
festival
the
on
real
in
deal,
time.
John, is that you
I've shown a bunch
you
of
you
mine
you
there
keep
before.
wondering. There's no one in Roanoke that you can talk to about movies. Well, there was. I was at parties last night.
Yeah, but I just had a
Yeah, I was
feeling
at
it was
parties
like
at last night where there were hundreds. There was the Egyptian room, the bunny room. There,
cool.
there were about 20 different rooms, parties, all the food you want to eat, all the booze you want to eat, and there were tons of women who were, there were more women filmmakers there from Roanoke.
Really?
Yes,
Oh man.
and
Well,
they
I'm holding out for the one that's
and they had
100 times
panels,
better.
and there was a group of women who were looking for a guy with
I'm holding out for
with a
one that's
white beard.
Infinity
I was in
Contract.
demand just because of my beard. They kept calling me Merlin, and who's the guy in the Hobbit ones, the tall guy, the gray guy. Anyway, it was amazing, John. I haven't slept, for 30 hours.
Well,
So
you slept now for a few
a few
hours.
hours. Yeah, when I got back around 12, I slept for about 4 hours. But from when I left, at 8 with you, and I didn't.
You look like you haven't eaten as much food or
No, I
something.
didn't eat anything really. I had no money, so I couldn't buy any food. And the food they had up at the parties were like chips and dip and pizza, and I
Mm.
didn't eat any of that. Man, they had so much booze, but I only had one drink because my tummy wasn't feeling too good.
Oh.
But I was more, um, you know, just not distracted, but involved with the people who were there.
Cool.
So, John, there are a lot of filmmakers in this city. You know, they're right here, right? I forgot this.
I went out. I started going out last night to go there,
Mm-hmm.
and I just got a strong sense. Just turn back around.
Okay. Well, it was way fun, and
It was a bunch of partying,
it
and
was a bunch of
what
but
would I do? Have sex with some
no,
random
no, no, no,
blonde?
no. But conversations. I must have had 40 amazing conversations about creativity, about film, about it was amazing. It really
Yeah.
was. It was.
Yeah.
And yes, there were some women who were attracted towards me, and we kind of puddled towards about 3 in the morning. But no
Puddled?
sex. Yeah,
What does that mean?
what's a puddle? The whole. It's like a circular group, and these people were costumiers, so they were all bunny. There was a bunny room, so everyone looked like had
But they
a.
weren't doing any weird group sex or some crazy thing, right?
Oh, they were expressing themselves, you know. And it was fun, John. It was just straight up fun. There was nothing torrid, or it was just people being themselves and not afraid to be
Ah,
themselves, not afraid to express themselves. And we had amazing conversations. And what I really liked, there was like for every guy there was three women to every guy.
ugh.
I mean, there was just way more women, and way more women producers and women directors and women writers, and the women were aggressive. I like aggressive women, and they were all aggressive. You know, they liked you. Hey, I like you. You know, it's like it was amazing, and they were not demure to their ideas. Right? It was really, really amazing. And what I loved the most, I went to a number of these panels where women were the majority of them, and they were the authority in them, and you know, it was pretty amazing. So, and that was right here in our little Roanoke Valley that you would think is, you know, a chumpy place, but no, it was just amazing. And there were loads of different people, you know, like, you know, people from 18 to my age, 70 and older.
The weird thing is that they have some little young kids in there that are like 15, 16, 17. Some
And,
of those girls in the cosplay were 16.
oh, yeah. I mean,
That was the funny thing.
the one I talked to, they were pretty much, oh, you know, 18. They were all going to college, so there are not too many 16-year-olds who are in
Well, that's how
college.
they had it in the past years. They had these girls that were like, you know, looking like Harlequin, and I asked one of them how old she was, and she
Uh-huh.
said 16.
Right, right. Well, I mean, most of the people I saw there were, you know, definitely in their 20s and older. You know, like they all had jobs and they were all going to college, and
Yeah, they all
you
had
know,
regular jobs.
you know,
They're
so
not,
it was,
even though they're supposed to be
usually
filmmakers.
teenage kids are in high school and not really, you know,
If they were a
working.
filmmaker, they would be make if they were truly a filmmaker who had it as a career, then that would be their job.
Yeah, and that was the other thing. More than half those people, their living was making costumes. Their living was writing things. Their living was creating
Did they
software.
really make a living off of the
Yes,
creative
yeah,
stuff?
yes, 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 yes. Big time.
Which ones?
More
The
than
guy
half.
that made costumes for
More,
other people.
yeah. And for movies, and you know, they were getting, you know, they were knocking out.
Did any of them make a living at something really creative that they really
Yes,
like to do the
everyone
best?
there who had a job, and like I said, there were writers, there were software people who did
But how much did
games.
they make it as a writer? 17,000 a year.
No, they were the one woman who had this amazing costume. Um, so I said, I didn't ask her how much she made a year, but she said she made a lot of money, enough to buy a car and a house and pay off her college loan. You know, so you know, she didn't tell me, oh yes, I make $300,000 a year, but she said, oh no, I do pretty good. She didn't tell me exactly what was in her bank account. That's like a little rude, but she definitely, you know, like she said, I bought myself a house and a car and paid off my college loan. So people there were not, but it was whether they made a nickel or not didn't matter. They were expressing themselves, and they were happy,
Yeah, I
and
went to that.
they were just they were what they were doing, right? And those all the costume people, they had more of those panels of technical stuff, you
Yeah.
know, of the you know, the people who were the costumiers, the people who made movies. They talked about the technical thing of what they did,
Yeah.
and the way they talked about this one woman. She makes 6 movies a year,
Six what length movies?
full length. You know, 50 minutes to an hour and a half.
For what audience?
Oh, for some producer who puts them out, and her thing was horror, but her horror shows. She had this one movie that was
I've never
hilarious,
heard of someone doing 6 feature films in a year.
and well,
A feature film takes a lot of effort
no, but these people were they had
and time.
within the film, you know, they had documentary films and they had all different kinds, and there was a section of films, maybe 10, 15, 20 films that were made in less than 45 hours,
Oh.
right? And they also they make these films. What they do is they make the films, and then they go to film festivals, and there is money you can win. You get the first one, you get like $5,000. Second one, you know, and there are producers there who will buy your film, and that's what this lady has this niche of really um, poignant Um,
It's hard to believe that they're still doing real films out there, and that there's a market for it with how big YouTube is.
well, you know, bottom line, John, you should have been there because then you could have had
Actually, the
conversations
Oscars are playing
tonight.
next soon.
Right,
Yeah,
tonight. But you could have, John, you could have been there and talked to all these people, and you could, and they live right here, right? You
I
could,
didn't know what else to say that.
there's your community. The thing is not what you had to say; it's why I got along with a lot of people is that I listened. I just asked a few point questions and got them talking about stuff.
I like having a direction or plan with doing stuff like that.
Well,
I have a feeling that if I went there, I wouldn't have gained much of anything.
I
Just
sure
went
did.
back there. I talked a little bit for the first part of the day, a few hours, and I just went home.
Right. Yeah, I know I drove you back.
It sucked. It sucked being here another Saturday night, way out in the woods, away from all those people.
Well, you could have been there and been at what was so much fun was the
Yeah,
top
but
floor.
what would there
There,
be having sex with a random person
no,
that
I
doesn't
didn't
care
have
about
sex with
long
a man.
term?
I know I was for a good 8 hours. This whole floor, there were about 8, 9 suites that had parties that they had, booze and food,
I
and
looked at
loads
all
of
the
people.
guests. I happened to see the women on there, and I just wasn't interested in any of them.
Anyway, so they also had a reading room where
And
authors came.
how could I actually get a job out of talking to them? So I figured, well, I wanted to enjoy myself and go back, but it was so late and I was so tired. I just went home.
What time did you try and make it back here?
Um, I was here before it got dark and just stayed here all night. I tried to drink coffee and go back out, and it just made me feel not that good. I didn't get any anxiety, but I couldn't sleep till like 12 or 1 anyway.
Uh
I tried to drive down the mountain. I started going down, and I just got the sense like I kept trying to call Danica and my son,
huh.
and I was like, forget it. I just want to be with them. I don't. Why would I be with some random person I don't even know?
Well, it was the community that I really enjoyed. The energy of the community, and that there was not a negative vibe there, and there were lots of different people, and a lot of people had agendas and things of that nature. But the overall vibe was that of a community, And I did a lot of. I probably read at least 100 poems, and that
So you're saying that your way is good to not have an agenda. However,
John,
if you
what
don't
I'm
have a
saying,
goal, what are you ever
John,
going to achieve?
John,
If
my
you don't have a specific goal, what are you going to achieve?
what I achieved was I met a lot of people. I made a lot of people happy. There was a
You
number of
enjoyed
people.
yourself and did whatever the fuck you felt like.
Yeah,
You had
well,
a good
not whatever
time.
the fuck I felt like. I just interacted with human beings. I was being a human being, and that's why I wanted to bring up 7 to 9 in the Voyager thing. And everybody had their favorite TV show, Babylon 5, all the Star Trek things, all the old. There were guys who wrote, gals who wrote books about science fiction all the way back to like the 17th century. I mean, there were so many different people and so many different panels.
Have
And
you filmed me at all
what you want?
since I've been in this room?
No,
Why
you
not?
want to be here?
Uh,
I'll put
I
you
was
on
just
there.
wondering. Oh,
Okay, there you are.
hi. Hey, how's it going? Hi. I'm not wearing little shorts and little clothes where you can see my body. I put on clothes that are warm and normal. Hey, are there people watching?
Okay,
All right, bye everybody. Okay, bye.
so the whole thing about um, 7 of 9, she's a Borg, right? She's like, we're going to assimilate you. So that's the bottom line of a lot of people. They have an agenda and they want to assimilate you. You can do it my way or the highway. This was really interesting in the fact that there were so many different people who were so open to everybody. And now on the panels, people had some strong views and stuff. And there were a number of people there who were representing something that most people didn't realize. Has anyone on the chat here ever seen a TV show? It was on NBC in the early years. It was called Dark Skies, and it took history and it wrapped the alien conspiracy through it, through Majestic 12. It kind of gave a story of like, humans have been involved with aliens since, millions of years ago, the ancient alien kind of motif. And then it starts up, at Roswell, right? And it mixes all these kind of historical moments into the storyline. And it was, anyway, so the thing about, why that even got on television was that it was, basically, again, the powers that be found these two guys who wrote something and said, okay, and they kind of twitched it a little bit because it was like the movie inside the movie inside the movie. And that was what Mysticon was. It's a mystical event, and it was a movie inside of a movie. There were all these kind of different platforms going on, and there were a ton of people who, not a ton, but there was a handful of people who were there for their own agenda. And they weren't representing like, oh, I write this book, no, it wasn't like, oh, no, they were like, there were a couple of people who were actual kind of military industrial scientists who were spinning little things out into these panels, right? And because they had some pretty sophisticated, they had a panel on, the math of black holes, because it's one of those things that gets used a lot, wormholes and stuff like that. But they were like pretty in the weeds of the physics of it. And then there was a couple of panels on weapons, right? And again, there were a couple of guys who were in the weeds of that. And they were kind of plumbing or, like gauging what this crowd had that they could, harvest. And when I kind of went to them, not in the panels, but when they were like, and those were the guys who were hitting all the young girls. I didn't hit on anybody. Women were hitting on me. It was like, made me feel young again. But these guys, anyway, and they all looked like Carl Sagan. They all had white, the old Carl Sagan with white hair, but they all had turtlenecks and, I had my funny hat on, which all the costumiers, oh, that's a great costume. And all it was a hat with a Halloween mask on it, And it's how I was wearing it. And I talked to a number of costumiers, and we had that conversation about walking into a room and owning it. And this one guy said, and he made amazing outfits. The one panel that John was on, the guy who had his little resume, like that guy, and the woman who ran that panel, they both had costume companies right here in Roanoke. And, they get between $700 and $4,000 a costume. And, they're not knocking them out 5 a week, but, they're doing enough to pay their bills and have a company and have some employees. But they say they actually make most of their money going to these shows where there are prizes for the cost. Like there at Michelin, they had a big show and they had 4 prizes, moneyed prizes. So, and those costumes were freaking amazing, right? And so the only people who were there with an agenda were those guys who I think were from, the hidden hand. They were like I said, they were trolling for folk. And when I went and talked to them about stuff and was particular to them, and I did it, one-on-one in a place where no one wasn't a circle of conversation, they would like first kind of say, "Oh, who are you?" Not ask me who I was, but ask me questions, and I'd, come back, and we'd have a little sparring match. And they get to a point where they say, there's no, it's kind of like John leaving the room. This guy, he knows too much, and he's trying to get info from me, get me to say something, and I've already had too many drinks, and I got a hard on, and so I shouldn't really talk to this guy. So that happened 3 different times, and there were 3 different guys like that, and I really felt like 7 of 9, tertiary 0.1. But anyway, um, it was it was an amazing event. Okay, let's see what you guys have to say. We've been talking now 20 minutes. Let's see what you guys have to say. Let's see. So there's Ride. Hey, Dragon, Twitchy. Something invisible sit by side. A ghost that leaves an imprint. A couple of times this happens. Yep. And I would say if you're feeling that, Dragon, it's more a dimensional character, because they kind of go into categories. And what I'm thinking of is we're going to tonight have a guided meditation. In the next, depend how many more people show up, where we're going to go to the old Crone's farm, where Mysticon is going on. All those people I'm going to bring shamanically into the old Crone's, into the big ballroom, and you guys are going to be there too. That's right, Ryan. You picked it up. Signal to noise, making contact. Yep. Possibles inside and out of Love's Code. Very good. Boy, you picked it. I love it when someone picks up exactly why I laid that down. Well, a lot of things. So we go into dream state, and so when we go into guided meditation, that's like have you go into your imaginary mirror. That's where dream state is. That's dream time. So you see things all over many dimensions. Your subconscious, your superconscious. Um, so whatever you see in dream time, again, I always say, when you wake up, you should, before you go to sleep, you tell yourself, I want to remember my dreams completely. When you wake up, you take your phone. It has a recording button, and where it takes the recording of your voice, and you go, wow, I had this dream about blah, 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 because your subconscious is wired to your mouth. You put it on that, then you go back and you listen to it, and that's the beauty. You can stop it, you can go back and forward. You listen to it and you write it down. And in school, we took notes, not to remember, but to understand. Freud, there's a part of our brain, when we hear something, we write it down, we have a lightning understanding, a gestalt. That's gestalt therapy. Yep, you like that, Jane, right? Dark Skies. Excellent show. I mean, back in the disco days and my rock and roll days and theater days, I was like the king of projection, you know? One of the things Bob Goddard did, I don't know if you guys ever saw it, but he would have overhead projectors, 2 pieces of glass, and he'd have colored oil. And he'd squirt the oil on there, and you just kind of press the glass, and it would look like a projection of a lava lamp, right? And I got pretty good at doing that. And then we hooked those pieces of glass. We went to Lexan, clear plastic, and put speaker cones to them, so the vibration of the music would do it, and we could change the amplified and also the speed of when that sound was going through the plastic. Well, the yellow face is a pretty chill dude. Hey, Nitty, Dragon. Boo Boo Twitchy. Yeah, happy ending. Toad. Catastrophe. And they also had writers who read their stories, guys who wrote short stories. And it was really like, and they also had a drum circle. I took the bunny girls down to the drum circle and we danced around the. It was just so much fun. Yeah, it was a while back. It was either the late '90s or I think it was the early O's. I think it was kind of after. I'm not quite sure when they did it, but and they had rooms of video where you could play video games all freaking night, and they had a what is it? Virtual reality room that was a trip. And they also had augmented reality, which was. And this was like an acid trip without I didn't do any drugs. I really only had one cocktail. That was it. After I went into the Egyptian room suite and I read everyone's palms to the point where I was really noisy and loud, and I read this one person's palm, and then everybody lined up, and it was like because all of in each of the suites that had a motif, these were all friends who had been to the other things, and they tried to outdo each suite, with decorations and food, and it was pretty amazing. There was a 50s suite where they had a guy making banana splits and malts and had the most amazing chocolate cake. I did have a slice, just one, and I only ate half. And they had freshly made ice cream. Oh, it was just it was all free. And I have to thank John for bringing me. Yep, the hat. Well, guys, scary stuff. Scary is the illusion. I think I told you the story about my grandma taking. I grew up with my grandma. At 7, I moved back to my family, and I was like, a grown up by the time I moved back to my family. But they were just so, un everything my grandma was, that it put me off. And so I started wetting the bed, right? Because I didn't want to get out of bed. And, at a certain point, I was really good at wetting the bed only on one side, so I could kind of lie in the warmness until it got cold, and then I could roll the other side because I was such a little peanut. But it was like pissing my mom off because she had to clean it up. So, um, they were always going to send me to shrinks and blah 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 blah. And my grandma said, no, no, just send them back to me. And she took me to the movie Forbidden Planet, where the monster from the id, right? And she made me sit in the front friggin' row where I'm looking straight up. And the movie, you could see, the movie, it was outside 70 millimeter and Panavision. And how they made the monster was they animated it frame by frame on the movie, meaning they shot the movie, and they had a Disney guy, scratch in monster. It was amazing. So if you sat in the front row, you could see the scratch marks. So it wasn't scary. Sat in the back row, boy, it looked like a monster. But right, there, you could, and there was this one guy back at the conference. There were a lot, people in costumes, right? And there was a guy who dressed up as Batman, and he made his costume himself, and he, um, you know, never sewed, never, but he stitched everything, and it was really interesting because the lady who was one of the ladies who was a big time costumier has a company, and she has a career where they pay her to go judge costumes. Um, like I said, more than half the people there were making their living by doing their art. Not working in the 7-Eleven and making excuses, right? And so that's what I really, really loved about that. But so she was saying, I was talking to her, and this guy walks towards us. She goes, "Oh, look at that!" And like from 30 feet, he looked like, you know, Batman, right? And he walked closer and closer and closer. And when she stopped him, and she like talking to him about every stitch and how he did that, and because he didn't, wasn't a sewer, wasn't this, did things in ways that she never thought of, and was like, "Wow, can I do that?" She got more dope, and they had this. It was like they were speaking another language. Then I said to the guy, "Oh, let me look at," and everyone was wearing gloves, and I started reading people's palms with their glove on. Now it's like a circus trick, right? Because really what I'm looking at is people's energies. So they were, they'd have a big claw, and they put their hand up, and I'd do a reading, and they would like, "How can you do that? You can't even see my hand." I said, "Oh, yeah, I see enough." And one of those, I went in, they had this big room where people were vendors, right? But they were all costumed up. And there's that video. If you go look at it, I kind of go all the way around a couple of times and read everyone's palm, you know? And it was really sweet because when I came back after, what happened was, so partied all night long. And even those people kind of, I mean, because they were partying a lot harder than I was. Like I said, I had one drink that this guy had patties. It was unbelievable. He had patties, Irish whiskey. It was like, wow. Nobody drank it. He said, "You're going to have the bottle." I said, "No." But I had one glass, and that's all I drank. I drank a bit too much coffee, too. It's like I got a little acid tummy. Anyway, so, you know, I did that for about 3 or 4 hours, and then midnight showed up. People started partying around 8. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then 12 was the the drum circle. So I met the Bunny Girls, and we went down there and danced, and that was sweet. So we went back up, and that's when the parties were in heavy duty, and the hallways were full of people and rolling around, and it was just amazing. I met the Bunny camp. I went off the Bunny camp, and they had a suite, 3 or 4 rooms. And one room was where, if you wanted to bunny down, you could. And so these girls kind of, that's where I puddled. And, their costumes were so, it's hard to take them off. So we just kind of, puddled. We didn't really do anything. And we talked, and it was really sweet. It was like so sweet. And but then they got a second wind and wanted to go, party hardy again. And there was a reading room where these guys were reading their short stories. So I went in there, and everyone was like sitting right up close. They had all these chairs in this room, but there was still a couch there. They didn't move the couch out. So I kind of laid on the couch and fell asleep while the guy was reading. And it was about 2 or 3 in the morning, and I fell asleep between 2 and 3. And I woke up around, everyone was gone. They had turned the lights off. And somebody had, the bedding was in the bathroom, and they had gotten a pillow and put it under my head and put a blanket over me. It was like, oh, these guys are so sweet. And so kind of got up, used the bathroom, came out, and realized the couch was a fold out bed. So I felt, did that. So I slept from about 4 until around 6:30 when someone knocked on the door, like came in, and there I am in in the fold out bed, and "What are you doing here? You're not supposed to." And I said, "Oh, what?" I showed him my little pass, and I said, "Fine, fine." I kind of folded it up and went out, and that's when I took a walk to kind of try, because everything was dead. The thing was going on in the hotel because it was like about 6:30. Everyone probably went to bed around 6 or 5:30, and so it was. And there were no people working there except this one person who was checking on stuff and found that I was sleeping on the couch. Anyway, there's a reading room. Let you read. You're not supposed to be. Anyway, so that's when I took a little walk, and I walked to the backside of about I don't know, tenth of a mile, um, and it wasn't really raining. It was amazing, deep, thick fog, and there's a mall at the end of where this hotel is. So the lights, it was just so appropriate, spooky, weird. Yeah, and there was no cars in this parking lot that was like a couple acres. It's a mall, and there was no cars. And, easily a flying saucer could have landed there because off there's the parking lot, and then there's this kind of grassy knoll that goes down to the main road, and that was about 2 or 3 acres. You could have landed in a nice flying saucer right there. So anyway, I was like just walking through it, and I cut. My legs are bad. I can't walk miles, so I cut through the back side of the mall because it runs up against where this hotel is. And I kind of came down and walked, and there were all these homeless people um, that were going through the garbage, and I said, "Hey, let's go, let's go over to the because I know the guy who manages the Waffle House." So we went over there, and I had about $20, and he and his helper were just opening up. I mean, they run 24/7, but it was they don't have a full crew at that early in the morning. Anyway, unless it's a work day. This is Sunday, and so I go in, we sit down, and I go, "Hey, listen, these guys are homeless. They were going through the garbage. They're hungry. Here's all the money I have. Can you make them breakfast?" And I go, "Yeah." So he does, and he kind of sits, right where our table is. He's kind of got ready. The crowd hasn't showed up, and he is telling the folk there that he was homeless. He was a homeless kid, right? And he tells his whole story, and the homeless folk were going, "Well, wow, that guy had it way worse than I have." Because what happened with this kid, his father was abusive, his mother, did bad things, and the father left when he was about 6, and the mother died, OD'd, when he was about 8, and he was living in a part of the country that was relatively rural, and there was no safety net, and he kind of had to live, you know, on his own, you know. And he went through school, got himself through school, through grammar school and middle school, and we're really just living in an abandoned building, and and holding himself together. And so that's a pretty amazing story. And the homeless folk I was, they were like basically saying, "Wow, you had it way worse than I do." And the guy said, "Listen, you don't have to be the way you are. You choose to, right?" And so it was quite interesting, a juxtaposition for these folks in the festival having their kind of life that they choose to have, that they're not going to. So we dropped out. Am I back here? Am I buffering? Any of the above? So somebody tell me you can hear me. How am I coming over? 5 by 5? How are we doing? It's 44 minutes and 24 seconds. Anybody here? Anyone want to go on a guided meditation? You're back online. Okay. So anyway, that was a very interesting experience. And then, okay, I'm here. Okay. Hear you. Okay. So, this weekend, right? Really certified my belief in we can, as the cadre, as the chorus, as the shock troops of love's co-creation, we can really do anything we want to do. Because I was a good 300 to 1,000 people, and they were also, and there were black folk, and I mean, it wasn't just white male nerds, it was everybody, and like I said, there were more women in authority there. I mean, the people running it were women, right? It was quite amazing, right? So, I think we're going to go into a state in the next few minutes. I'll put the camera down. Let's see. Here we go. Hey. Only screw with your head if you let it screw with your head. So just every time, if you feel any anxiety, just put this little thing in your head. I'm buffering. How am I doing now? Am I back? Am I here? Jane says I'm here. Dragon says, esoteric, let's see. Back. Okay, I'm back. Am I still back? My emoji mask. Well, I was saying that's the our little journey. That will be the most scary thing you see. So this is how I kind of looked. I had this hat, and I had this stuck on my hat, and that was and everyone was like, "Wow," So, and even the people who had amazing costumes were like, "Yeah, I love that hat, man." So you can make anything you want happen. You can be anything you want to be. And all you have to be, and that's why I did like the 7 to 10 little videos, just to give you a sense of what it was. I mean, I didn't make a movie of it. It was just, when my battery was charged and it seemed interesting, and I had, was connected to the internet, I kind of put it up there to share with you guys, right? And that's what all of these, I'm past 400 shows, right? I'm now moving on to 500, and I put them up there for you guys. Lights flickering a lot. Well, we are in as long as you can hear me, because we're going to go on a guided meditation in about a minute, right? So everyone get in a comfy place, put yourself in a safe position, and we're going to get you to breathe, right? So start breathing, deep breaths. And where we're going tonight, we're going to go to the Old Crone's farmhouse, and we're going to go to her ballroom, and everyone who was at the Mysticon this weekend are going to be there. All the costumiers, all the movies will be playing, and you can experience it, So this is another kind of remote viewing exercise. See how good you're going to do. Boy, we went from 12 to 4. I wish more people would come back. So, you still hear me? And are we connected? Am I, yeah. Old Crone. Okay, here we go. So everyone's comfy. Everyone lay back. Everyone start breathing nice and deep. 20% in and 30% out. Visualize yourself, breathing that 20% in, breathing out that 30%. I'm going to count from 1 to 3, and as I do, you're going to go into a deep state of relaxation. And so 1, your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. See it clearly. You're breathing in that 20%. You're letting it go. You're going deeper and deeper into a state of conscious relaxation. See it clearly. Let's see. Dance party. Well, how about dream? Dreamy dreamland. I think we're going to have a dance party. Seeing that we're going off to the old Crohn's ballroom and hang out with all of the folks who were at Mysticon. Okay, so you're all focused on breathing the 20% in and breathing out the 30% out. I'm going to count from 1 to 3 as we go deeper and deeper into this state of consciousness. And 1, your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. Your avatar is comfortably in a position of safety, and your autonomic system is putting your body on autopilot, right? And 1, your conscious mind is totally focused, breathing that 20% in, filling those lungs, filling those lungs, filling those lungs with the prana. And the prana is going all through your body, and your blood is swirling the blood through the veins and arteries and capillaries. And not blood, but swirling, right? And the prana, in that swirl, it goes clockwise, and inside that clockwise there's another swirl going counterclockwise, and inside that swirl there's another one going clockwise. That's the polyphase alternating current. All of your iron-rich blood is making current. It's making photonic energy, right? And every cell of your body is being just kind of, bathed in this photonic energy. And you are going deeper and deeper and deeper into that state of conscious relaxation. Your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. You see every cell of your body being energized. See all the mitochondria like little lightning bolts from that prana. And your current of your whole body is being grounded through your chi. And so your prana is coming from, hey, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. As it was in the beginning, is now, ever shall be, world without end. And every day and every way you take the piece of the earth and you make it stronger by co-creating love with love. Love is the only true creator. All else is a Luciferian illusion. See it clearly. And you take that photonic light that you created in your mitochondria, and you're focusing it in your imaginary mirror. That's where you have dream time, right? That's where you have dreams. And you focus it, it's all white, you're totally surrounded by this white light, and you shine that photonic light into your subconscious, which is your subconscious mind. It's not a scare place, it's the library of your Akashic records. See it clearly. Take your right hand, your left hand, and you sit down at your reading table. Your librarian brings your Akashic record, and you take your right hand and you put it on the right page of your Akashic record, left hand on the left page, and you lean in and you evacuate all the anger, all the fear, all the anxiety, everything. See it clearly. See it clearly. and you feel lighter than light, ebullient, and all the anger and fear is no longer inside you. It's in your Akashic record. You close it and at your leisure. And every day and every way you go to your Akashic record and you suss out the piece of the earth. You look at it all. The book will give you total perspective. Right? And you have your librarian to bring you more information. You got your animal totem to give you a story that will give you insight. Your guardian angel's there to protect, watch your back, see it clearly. And now we're walking over to the shortcut to our lodge. And we go into our lodge and we bring our guides with us. And in our lodge is our lodge guide. And we have a nice cup of tea. You, me, the cadre, your guides, everybody else's guides. And out of the hallway, there is the coat closet. And out of the coat closet comes the old crone. See her strongly, tall, beautiful, ageless, wearing a dark robe and a beautiful ermine dress, showing off her still beautiful figure, and her long red hair going down to her waist. And in the back, she has a braid, and in that braid, there are the feathers coming from her neck. That braid is made out of those feathers. See it clearly. And see her emerald green eyes just burning. She sits down with us and has tea. And we all have tea, and then she invites us back to her farmhouse, to her ballroom. She goes, there's a great conference, a great party, a great celebration of the cadre. And so we all get up, and we walk through the coat room, comes out into a hallway, into the hall of her ballroom, and there's a great crowd there. And there are screens all around a darkened half, and there's films running, and there are lectures being lectured, and lecterns, and chairs set out. And on the other side, there's an open bar and a buffet, and every kind of food that you could ever want is there. And people are in costumes. You know, there are people dressed as bunnies and lions and tigers and bears and trolls and elves and you name it. So I want you at this moment to just view everyone and see which clan, and they're all in kind of clans. They're kind of mixing amongst you, but they're in clans. And I want you to go and join a clan. And when you do, you will be wearing a costume of any of those. But what you will have to distinguish you as the cadre and the chorus and the shock troops of Love's Co-Creation, you'll have a sash with emblems. And see the emblem. See what the emblem of the cadre is. See the emblem of what the chorus is. See the emblem of the shock troops of Love's Co-Creation. See the emblem of Humanities Artist Trust International. See the emblem of the Institute for Aesthetically Adept and Appropriate Technologies. See the emblem, happy Sunday, of the Freely Inquiring Society. See the emblem of the Grandmothers Council. And you don't have to, what makes you a member of the Grandmothers Council is not that you're an old lady. It's that who is, the most responsible person in the room? It's usually Grandma. And if you are one of those responsible people in the room, you don't have to be, 80 years old, white-haired old lady. You don't even have to be a female because everyone is a woman. We all start out as women. And so that right there, gang, and it just hit 1 hour, 1 minute, and 11 seconds. So I'm going to be quiet for the moment, and I want you to walk around the ballroom, find a clan, and be dressed in a costume, and enjoy yourself. Drink, eat, and be merry. Dance, go to lectures and panel discussions. See it clearly. And 3, you're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation. Your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. You have entered your sanctuary and gone into the lodge through the shortcut. And you've gone through the cloakroom in your lodge into the old crone's farmhouse, and you've gone through the entrance way and gone into her great ballroom where there is a great event going on of the Mysticon, the best of Mysticon. All the movies playing, all the panel discussions, all of everything. And there are all these individual people who are living their lives, choosing to navigate it themselves, not allowing themselves to be told what to do or how to do it. See it clearly. So, I want to hear from you, the 6 of you, what you're seeing, what costume you chose to be, what you see, the emblems of your sash, because we need some emblems, so you guys are artists. Start drawing them. Start visualizing this. I keep saying, let's get the band together. Let's get the carnival going. That's what the ballroom is, a celebration of the inception of this journey. And if we come together and bring forth this carnival of spiritual knowledge, all of that crew, all of our relations will be there. Will be part of the cadre. The old crone everyone I've talked to, right? And that's why I've done these videos, so you can go back and watch them. Some people are, I'm getting some very interesting stuff. People are going back and looking at the history of Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob on YouTube, and seeing that every one of these things has an importance, right? It's not just being there. Press like Hunter S. Thompson. I like it. Drawing well in state right now. Excellent, Dragon. Excellent, excellent. See what a good tool this is? Happy, happy. Photon protoplasma. Yep, that's where it is. See, there. You can see my protoplasma just, woo, you know. Okay, draw them in real time, buddy. So we got them, right? And describe everything you see, gang. That sounds great, Jane. Toady Piper, green blue earth Terran with huge golden big insignia. Yep, I like it. I like it. So, is there any panel discussion that's drawing you and bringing your interest and giving you insight to something that you've been wondering about, and here it is, they're telling it to you right now? Sands of the Illusion of Time. Yep. Like that. What was the panel on the depths going on about? Now, what we wear, is that like a metaphor or a uniform? Where we went, where? So they're talking about our avatar, how we are as a bag of water. So, what is the sensation that you're getting? Plasma, light being. Selves as one, consciousness, love, concrete. Okay. Wisdom of the Al panel. They're talking esoteric shaman and alchemy, various tools and news, herbs. Excellent, excellent. Remember, take notes. Remember, this is all in your Akashic record. You can go back and see it all. Co-creation. Yep. So, what are feelings are being brought up in the essence of celebration? The music, the films, the lights, the sounds, the taste of food, the smell of food, the libations, all the other people, you know, who are there, who are not quite, you know, members of the cadre, but they are all our relations. It is. I once, when I was a little kid, I used to put myself in trance by, when I was putting my socks on, I would just kind of rub my socks up and down my calves. And it would put me into a trance. I mean, deep trance. And, until I met my sensei in Vermont, that's how I would meditate. I mean, people were always talking about meditation. That would be like being. I would be in state and see amazing things, and I would see the poltergeists and the dimensional characters because it would take me out of the frame of reference of the avatar meat puppet and put me just a little, just like this, just here I was, and then things would change, and that's and then I'd be there, and then I'd be here, and I'd be here, and then I'd be here, and so in between the age of 6 and I guess 19, I guess. Well, that's not true. I met Madame Olga Kluver when I was 10. So 6 to 10, I was doing this on my own, and then she kind of showed me lots of interesting things and how to meditate and such. But she was, an ascended master, so I didn't have to do the kind of processes I did with Sensei. I would just she'd put me right there, just like I just did to you guys. And one of the things I remember, I don't know what, it was summertime, and it was in the morning, and this nice breeze was coming on, and the birds were singing, and the window was open, and I was, rubbing the socks up and down my legs, and I went into state, and I was there for hours going, it is. And my mother came in, you know, within the first hour or so of me doing, like, wondering where the heck I was. And I'm, kind of in my tidy whites, rubbing a sock up and down my leg going, it is. She didn't say anything, she just kind of goes out and gets her next cup of coffee and smokes a cigarette and does whatever else. In a couple hours, I'm still there, like, it is. So it wasn't until about, noon that she's, okay, I'm going to wake this guy up. She kind of shook me. What are you doing? And all I had been saying was, it is. It is. And the more I said it, the deeper I went into love's co-creation. I was like totally there. Well, there you go. See? But, I keep saying, guys, go into state 4, 5, 10 times a day. That's what happens. You meet Leonard Nimoy, Vincent Van Gogh, and James Doan, right? Because everybody's there. And you go to this party in the Old Crone's ballroom is going to be going on 24/7 for eternity, as long as we need it, while we are co-creating with love, the alternative aesthetic. What you're experiencing now in the Old Crone's ballroom is the alternate aesthetic. See it clearly. It is, Dragon. It is. And I wasn't even on mushrooms. I just got there by rubbing a sock on my ankle. Well, I hope that made you happy, Jane. You know, sweet kiss. I had a number of those last night. That's about as far as I went last night, is sweet kissing. And it was so nice. It really was. It was like, you know, we were all just cuddling and kissing and cooing, and we were like in a puddle. It was really, dreamy aesthetics. Yep. Ooh, you were one of those bunny girls back in the 1970s, Jane. I went to a few of those first Star Trek conventions in the 70s. They were quite interesting. The Penta Hotel, that was a place where they had some conventions. It was one big convention hotel. Green Orion woman. Ooh, I love those green Orion. As long as they don't have scales and, twitchy slit eyes. And as long as they're not a reptile. Reptile girls can be pretty hot, but most times they just want to eat you. Green Orion women. And if they don't have scales, they're okay, because if they got green skin, it's only because instead of being carbon based, they are copper based. Purple people eaters, yep. One eyed purple people eaters. Kind of like that guy. But he doesn't eat people. Keep sucking it in. All of the imagery, all the smells, all the tastes, all the conversations, all the people you meet. You visualize people at this party. Exactly kind of what you're looking for. You will meet them within the week in real time. And you just can't be too judgmental. Meaning, oh, they don't have the same shaped nose. No, little things may be different, but you will meet the people you meet at this party. And 3, you're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation. Your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. You have traveled through your breath to illuminate your subconscious, which is your Akashic record. You have evacuated all the anger and fear into your Akashic record, which you'll go back and see at your leisure what it's about, why you felt this way, what was anxious. And you, every time you go into state and look into your Akashic record, you will get a deeper and deeper view on your perspective of who your conscious free will is. See it clearly. You have then, once evacuated all your anger and become light, you have taken your shortcut into your lodge. And everybody, all the cadre, was in your sitting room having tea when the old crone showed up through your coat room. And you all traveled through the coat room into her coat room, which went out into the great hall, which went into her ballroom, where a gigantic convention was in progress. Where on one side there were all of these stages, and people were making music and showing films and having lectures. And when you stood in front of each of those lecterns, that's what you heard. Meaning the music and the film and everything else right next door wasn't, making a cacophony. It was just like the chorus. It was making a beautiful song. And this amazing party, conference, celebration and it is going on. And it is going to continue to go on 24/7, 365, as long as you need it. You can walk in there through your Akashic record into your lodge, into your coat room, into the old crone's farmhouse, and into her ballroom. I want you each to see behind you, go to the other side, and there's this big bar, big buffet of every kind of food, every kind of drink, and tables where you can sit and eat and talk like an old beer garden. Universal Adepts unite in these shared beautiful dreams of every spiritual enhanced experience. Ho, Jane. That is our call. When we call for a toast, you know, that's our toast. So behind the bar is a gigantic mirror. So see yourself in whatever animal or creature or whatever totem. See yourself clearly. And the 5 of you start describing what you're seeing, feeling, share with you. You are in a chat, so start chatting what you're seeing, what you're feeling, what you're experiencing. So the folks who come and watch this video tomorrow or tomorrow or tomorrow or a week from tomorrow or a year from tomorrow, they will be able to go there. I'm a hybrid. Hybrid? Hybrid? What are you a hybrid of, Dragon? Pumpernickel and white, or no? What are you? Describe your hybridness. I can lead you folk of the cadre and the chorus and the shout troops into state, into experiences, and describe the experience, but not your experience, just the environment, right? And you have to fill in what you're feeling, what you're seeing, because I am generally giving you the parameters. You bring in the perspective of your specific conscious free will to co-create with love. See it clearly and describe it there on chat with each other, right? I am going to be quiet and let you have that experience and chat. Bring it forth. And 3, you're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation. You're in the old Crohn's ballroom. You're having a great party. You're meeting new people. You're having just the time of your life, and you're enjoying the food and the libation and the sounds and the smells and the conversations and dancing and the lights and all the information and all the panel discussions and all the beautiful music and all those films that you're identifying with. See it clearly. Sounds good. Enhanced oatmeal cookies. Mmm. Well, dragons and centaurs are two very powerful shamanic beasts, and so that's who you are, buddy. You're not buddy, dragon. You are shamanic, powerful. And a beast is nothing bad. It just means, strong. Just like Jane's enhanced oatmeal cookies, strong. Bigger pictures unfolding daily. That's what I like to hear. Again, go to your Akashic record and write it into your Akashic record. If you have a laptop, start a journal, a folder called journal. Just start writing away. Yeah, Linda is the bomb, all right. Thank you. Bring Linda Moulton Howe. I mean, whoever you want to hear to talk, bring them on the panel discussion, right? Go see them at the bar. Eat an enhanced cookie with Linda Moulton Howe. See what her avatar is. Anyone else you want to say, bring them to the ballroom. And that's what the ballroom is good for. To have an emotional, a spiritual, a psychic awakening at the same time having a great time. Because the greater your time can be, the more enhanced the experience will be, the deeper it will be, and the greater the opportunity to use this to move forward into your conscious free will. See it clearly. And 3, you're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation. Your conscious mind is totally awake. Not the mind of your avatar, but your conscious free will is awake. You are awake. You're experiencing this amazing gathering. And I'm going to quickly count you back to 1 and snap my fingers. And I want you to be awake with each number. And you will be awake to the point that you will be able to just close your eyes and breathe 20% in and out 30. And you will be able to go immediately to the old Crohn's Ballroom, back to this event. It's going to be there running non-stop, 24/7, 365 for centuries. And you have total access. You don't have to wait by the door, right? You can just close your eyes and be there. See it clearly. So the 4 of you, have you met anyone new there that really made a concrete difference for you? And 3, you're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation. Your conscious mind is totally focused on your breath. Your avatar is on autopilot, and you are conscious in your free will. You feel in the ballroom all around you the fibers of the photonic light that is love's co-creation. I'm going to count from 3 to 1, and as I do, you will come back into your avatar. But just like when I was a child and I would rub those socks on my legs, and I would be in a state of bliss and in other dimensions, but still on that bed, rubbing the socks on my leg and knowing that it is this celebration. It is for you. It is there. See it clearly. And 3, you're in a deep state of relaxation. You've illuminated yourself with your breath, taking yourself to your Akashic record through your imaginary mirror. And you have illuminated your heart to the point where you have evacuated all the fear, anxiety, self-doubt. And you've traveled through the shortcut to your lodge, and you've gone through your coat room into the old crone's farmhouse and come out her coat room to the large foyer, and you've gone into her amazingly big ballroom, and you're there now, and all of this amazing celebration and food and information and music and dance and great conversation, it's all going on, and it's like you're being basted, see it clearly, going deeper and deeper and deeper, see it clearly. And 3, you're looking in the mirror and seeing what costume you're wearing, seeing what clan you're hanging out with. You see your sash with all your emblems, and people are, wow, you're a shock troop of love's co-creation. Oh, wow, that's so cool. And you're not that because it's so cool. It's that because it is. See it clearly. And you walk out of the ballroom and into the hallway, and right by the doorway into the old crone's coat closet is the old crone. So go up to the old crone. Bow with grace and dignity and gratitude, because you would not have gotten here without the old crone. As you probably heard my first story of the old crone. And I would not have had that story unless I had been with the old crone. So she bows to you and then kisses you on each cheek, and you walk through the coat room into your lodge and through the shortcut into your Akashic record, and you will find your guides there, your librarian, your animal totem, your guardian angel, and your lodge guide, and you bow to them with grace, gratitude. And 2, you're in a deep, deep, deep state of relaxation, but coming back to the realization of your avatar. You're walking through your imaginary mirror, And now you're kind of waking up. And 1, you feel yourself back in your avatar. You're sitting down or lying down in that comfortable, safe place. And you feel yourself breathing. And you remember vividly everything you've seen and done. And 1, you're back now in your home, in your avatar. And 1, you're back here now. So, we are all protected. Yep, you will know when you meet them. That is for sure. Into the wet meat suit, yep. Dream catchers are, yep. I would, after, get yourself a vision book, or if you got a laptop or a computer, or anything you can write this down or record. I mean, that's another good thing. Take your phone and just hit the record button. And after every evening's show, every evening's journey, every evening's you know, guided meditation that I take you through, and after I say goodnight and sign off, I want all of you to make your own personal record. And if you could do it on your phone and put a video down, that might be cool. If you could all start a YouTube channel or a blog that you could bring me onto. I mean, we have to start expanding out, right? As we are about 4 weeks to spring, right? So these 4 weeks, start to prepare. Think about how you want to, manifest the cadre, the chorus, the shock troops, how you want to manifest, the Humanities Artists Trust International, how you want to manifest the Institute for Aesthetically Adept and Appropriate Technology, how you want to manifest the path towards our new alternative aesthetic, right? Start thinking about it. Start writing things down. When you write things down, it brings it closer and closer into reality, right? Into this material world, which we have to, that's what alchemy is about. We're changing the base metal of this material world and turning it into the gold of love's co-creation. The manifest, that's it. That's what Dreamy Dreamland was says the album is the manifestation station. I'm using that one, Dragon. Jazz hands. Okay, so you got your homework, the marching orders, however you want to look at it. So I'll see you tomorrow. Definitely at 7 p.m. Might have to catch up on my sleep. Just kidding. Scurvy bastard. Anyway, so here we are. 1 hour, 45 minutes, and heading towards 45 seconds. Love you, Al. And I love you all. Okay? Okay. So, a few more seconds, and I'll say goodnight. Sweet dreams. Sweet, sweet dreams. So go look at the videos I did of Mysticon. Maybe go Google Mysticon. See what they got up there, what information you can get, what people think, that, all the above, Okay, guys. Talk to you later. So say we all. Aho. See you tomorrow. Sweet dreams. I'm going to be going to sleep soon. Everybody want to